it's time.
This is the CSL This Week. Welcome, everybody. I'm Alex Bastiavansky, bringing you all the action from the Canadian Soccer League. On the show today, we take an in-depth look at Darren Chambers, the speedster who's spearheading Burlington SC's drive towards the CSL playoffs. Also, Toronto, Croatia Vice President Drago Branjevic joins me here in the studio to talk about his team's stellar play as of late. But first, let's get to the highlights of that red-hot team. Saturday night saw a massive tilt between Croatia and the North York Astros. Why so big? Well, the Astros were unbeaten in 8 contests and had climbed all the way to third in the standings, just 4 points behind the Croats. The teams were pumped, and the stage was set for a classic encounter at Hershey Field. The highlights now brought to you by Leica Sports, official sponsor of the Canadian Soccer League.
How big was this game? Croatia's last loss came back on June 5th for North York's. You got to go all the way back to June 15th. These were 2 hot teams. Early on, Hayden Fitzwilliams for Ivan Kuchera. Ouch. Point-blank shot off the crossbar. His reaction says it all. Then it's Kuchera again. Antoine Paul with the brutal giveaway, but Kuchera with his second big miss in a matter of minutes, still scoreless. Croatia really had the bulk of chances in this contest. Ainsley Deer goes through 2 Astros. Jason Lopes there to make the big stop, though, and he had a few of those on Saturday night just before the half. Ante Zivkovic denied on the header by Lopes. Okay, on to the second half we go. Croatia continues to set the pace. The cross comes to who else? Kuchera, but for the second time in the contest, denied by the crossbar. 84th minute now, and watch as North York's Bruno Lima tries to draw the foul here. The Croatia fans get on him for what they think is a dive. No call. The play continues. Pedro Manalo slams it home for his 3rd goal in 2 contests. The goose egg is finally broken. 1-0 Toronto through 84 minutes. And frustration boils over in the 90th for North York. Jose de Souza looks like he gets fouled here. No call. Jose won't keep quiet about it. And finally, he's shown the door. Big loss for the Astros going forward there. So the Croats keep on charging. 1-0 is your final. They sit in 2nd place with a 7-point bulge now over 3rd place North York, who have their 8-game unbeaten streak snapped with that loss.
Well, if there was any team desperate for a win last weekend, it was Burlington SC. Now, at the start of August, the squad sat in 2nd place and were nipping at the heels of front-runners York Region. Since then, however, they'd suffered through a 5-game losing skid that saw them outscored 16-2. So needless to say, they needed a boost of confidence in addition to the 3 points. And as it turned out, they got both on Sunday against a short-handed Brampton squad.
Brampton without top scorer Leiford Allen, who's off to school at Windsor, and they struggled offensively against the Burlington squad, desperately in need of a win. 24th minute, Alan Kukulovic hits a streaking Marian Vuka, and it's 1-0 Burlington on Vuka's 5th goal of the season, and that was actually it for the first 45 minutes of play. So on to the second half we go. And Vuka fights off Brampton's Michael Odemore, but Christian Montero comes out to meet the challenge and keep this thing a 1-goal game. And nothing Montero could do about this one, though. 73rd minute, Burlington free kick. Erwin Uzonovic gets his noggin on it. Beautiful play. 2-0 BSC, fully in control of this one. Not much doing offensively for Brampton. Their best chance comes right here. Nordo Gooden with the one-timer. Nicely steered away by Vladimir Vucinovic. So Burlington manages to snap their horrific 5-game losing slide as they blank United 2-0. Okay, let's check out some other game scores. August 30th, York Region still undefeated on the season. A 1-1 try against a tough Serbian White Eagle squad. Also on August 30th, Niagara continues to struggle. They are hammered 6-2 by SC Waterloo, and a huge win for London City, Big upset over Kingston FC 5-3 London City, really starting to peak at the right time. So let's take a look at the up-to-date league standings. As mentioned, York Region, the last unbeaten team with 33 points, clearly in first place. Down towards the bottom, Brampton United with 15. Niagara struggling. They've only got 8. Remember, for the up-to-date CSL standings and stats, CanadianSoccerLeague.ca. We got to take a quick break, but stick around. The CSL this week. We'll be back in just a moment.
Welcome back. On to second division action now. And Toronto Croatia's B team has been a tough squad to figure out lately. After playing strong for most of the season, they were spanked 7-2 by Niagara 2 weeks ago, an embarrassing loss to a team that had captured only one win up to that point. And their struggles continued last Saturday against a Milton squad hot on their heels for 4th place in the standings.
Croatia's back line has been porous their last 2 games, allowing 11 goals, and once again, they are victimized first. 5th minute, Luka Mastorovic controls the long pass. Ricardo Bunt makes the first stop, but where's the help? In goes the rebound, 1-0 Milton through 5 minutes. They keep coming. Nikola Osrin goes back to Mastorovic, but his little flick dribbles just wide of the far post. So it's 1-0 after 45 minutes. On to the second half we go, and Toronto gets one back. Franjo Stanic has given way too much time and space. He tattoos it past Zoran Puzichka. Tie game through 57 minutes, but then Adnan Smajic starts to go to work. First, he's stoned by Bunt off a hard shot at the edge of the box. Great stop. These two had a good little showdown happening. Moments later, it's Smajic again, but once again, Bunt says, and then he gives his defenders heck. But then off the ensuing corner kick, after all those great stops, the keeper misplays it, and in it goes. 2-1 Milton through 65 minutes. He nearly notches the second goal 3 minutes later. Smajic shakes off Ivan Peric, but the keeper does it the hard way, making the stop with his face. Yeah, that might have stung just a little bit. It kept it a 1-goal game, but that was enough for Milton. They double up the Croats by a 2-1 count, and Milton now sit just a point behind Toronto for 4th place in the second division.
Well, you know, something special has been happening with Brampton City's B team over the past month. The coaches have done a significant roster makeover, promoting numerous players from the organization's academy team. And that means the majority of City's team right now are 15 and 16-year-olds playing against men. What's truly astounding is that City rattled off 4 straight wins with the youngsters leading the way, and they hope to keep that hot streak going against a tough Burlington squad last Sunday.
Burlington was looking to bounce back after a brutal 5-0 beating at the hands of Kingston the previous week. Early on, though, it's Brampton with a good chance. Alec Menacey with the shot. Andrew Stringer just gets a hand on it to knock it over. Then it was Camilo Veloza going to work. Oh, that was dirty. Gorgeous score by Veloza, 1-0 Burlington SC. United comes right back at them, though. Dylan McAuliffe slips in, hammers it off the side of the cage. It goes, though. Just before the break, Veloza nearly pots a second, but the keeper gets just enough on it here to knock it wide of the post. So on to the second half we go, and Malcolm White with a burst of speed, but Stringer comes off his line to stymie the Brampton chance. Then it's Michael Tischer with the ill-advised pass back here. Joe Abali had a hat trick against Milton last week. Can't find the mark this time, though. A desperation in the last few moments for Brampton. Isaac Udy first gets stoned by Stringer, and then Stephen Craig with the goal line stand right there. A game saver that preserves the 3 points for BSC. They hold on for the 1-0 decision. Great game at Vic Park with so many great chances. So Burlington surges past Croatia into second place in the standings.
Hi, my name is Bruno Lima from Brazil. Then I play midfield North York Astros. Oh, this year I think I'm gonna make a good season. I think the strength for the North York Astros is the offensive. Although we have nice defenders, but I think with Joe Mello and Jose, we can do pretty well this year. When I think about my teammates, I think about partnership and trustness and confidence about each other. Canada so far has been a wonderful country for me. It has been very friendly, and I like the weather right now. Although the winter was pretty hard, but it went through, and now the weather is awesome. And it was very different for me, like seeing snow for the first time after 23 years. And I played a lot with snowballs. I got one snowball in my eye, and it was pretty cool. I like so much. Yeah, I just love Canada.
We got to take a quick break, but stick around. The CSL this week. We'll be back in just a moment.
Welcome back. I am joined now in the studio by the Vice President of Toronto, Croatia, Drago Banjevcic. And I got it right this time.
Oh, that's perfect,
And we were
Alex.
joking before because I get my name absolutely destroyed all the time, and I murdered his name off the top. I got it straight this time, though. He coached me a little bit, though. He did. I'm not going to lie about that. But Banjevcic, okay, welcome to the studio. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You know, it's been an interesting year for you guys because a slow start, which you were saying, that's actually kind of traditionally what Toronto, Croatia does. The slow start is last year, not so much. Last year, you didn't lose a game until July.
True.
But this year, a bit of a slow start. So talk about the beginning of the season a little bit before we get into how you're playing now.
Well, we lost that first game, and we realized from that game and the practices that we needed to make some changes. So basically, what the key was to retain some of the core players and bring in some youth into the team. And that strategy actually worked quite well. All the players that we brought in gelled right in and took off like a bullet. It was great.
Right.
Great
At the
move.
start of the year, one of the things that Sven Arapovic, your top defender, was saying to me was it was a much younger team this year than traditional Croatia teams, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, Alex. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So great turnaround as of late. You guys have vaulted up to second in the standings. Might be, I'm not going to say impossible, but very tough to catch the York Region Shooters right now, who are undefeated on the season still. But big turnaround in play. And let's just talk about some of the factors that you feel that have affected that and why you guys have done so much better over the last month and a half.
Well, the team was the rebuilding and introduction of new acquired players from overseas, from Croatia and from Bosnia and Herzegovina absolutely helped. They're the right type of players that we needed. At the same time, I would like to add that this time the creation of our reserve team has also helped significantly in bringing up young players, and also I believe having a reserve team is always good for the first team because they
Pushes
know
players.
Absolutely.
And pushes
yes,
players.
Exactly.
Well, first of all, big win this past weekend. Probably your biggest game so far this year against the North York Astros, the team that's chasing you guys for second in the standings. 1-0 win. One of the recent acquisitions was the guy who put home the lone goal of the game winner, obviously, Pedro Manalo, who's been phenomenal. He's a guy you brought over from Europe, obviously. He's one of the additions you were talking about. Talk about him and what his background is and how it is. What was the connection that was able to bring him to Canada?
Well, the connection was informal from our coaching staff and some of the people they knew overseas with the first division team where Pedro played in Bosnia and Herzegovina. And he had aspirations to come over to Canada, so it was kind of a win-win for us and for him. And yeah, absolutely.
And it's worked out well.
It's worked out well. He's been scoring goals as a midfielder. He's been tying in the whole game.
Well, 2 goals against Niagara, the game winners we just mentioned against the North York Astros. Another guy who scored against Niagara, another recent addition is a guy you've been very excited. Actually, you mentioned you wanted to talk about him.
Yeah.
A great addition is Ante Zivkovic, another guy from back home in Croatia. And talk about what he's brought to the team and also what the connection was to bring him over to Canada.
Ante is another young acquisition from Šibenik. He is currently 21 years old. A few years back, he played on the Croatian under-19 national team. Great fella. He's got all the skills. He's got the right attitude. He's fast, tall, and first game that he played against Niagara, he popped one in. So that was awesome. Yeah.
One of the things that you were talking to me about was a different, slightly different philosophy direction for Croatia. You touched on the second division team. But one of the goals of Toronto Croatia now, you were saying, is that you want to build up a bit more of the local talent. It's great bringing these guys over from Europe, but you want to really help develop more of this Canadian talent, whether they be Croatian, whether they be Jamaican, Hungarian, whatever it might be. These are the players you want to try to bring up to Toronto Croatia going forward from this point on. So just talk about that philosophy.
Alex, that's again where our reserve team comes in, and we decided to take that direction to do exactly that. Toronto Croatia over the years has been a great Canadian team, as we know. At the same time, we feel now that we would like to develop our local talent, and thank God there is a professional, semi-professional atmosphere where these young players could transition into to the
Let's talk about one or two players really quick, because we don't have too much time left, that have done that and are now developing through the Toronto Croatia system. A great young player, two-time Defender of the Year, Sven Arapovic. Just talk about real quick, and how much pride you get from seeing a player like Sven who's been developed locally playing for Toronto Croatia.
Sven is a great defender. He's a great player all around. It does give us a lot of joy, and that's one of the inspirations is Sven to the club and to the management to go in that direction and develop the local talent.
So final question, there's always a lot of pressure on this team because of the great accomplishments of the past. Of course, Toronto Croatia, so many titles over the year at so many different levels. Talk about the place though, and I know this is a question that could go on forever, but let's try to keep it within 30 seconds, that Toronto Croatia has within the Croatian community and has had since 1956, and how important that is.
It's very important, and perhaps since in the last 20 years, Croatia as an independent state, that has maybe changed everything slightly. However, in Canada, Toronto Croatia is a Canadian team, and right now I could tell you more than half of the players on that team are Canadian talent. We're proud of that, and I think that's the direction we're going. We want to develop more of that, and hopefully have those players excel to to their level.
Throughout the year. Well, you know what? It's been a lot of fun watching this year. It's going to be fun watching you guys chase York Region. May not happen during the regular season, but the playoffs are a whole different animal, and I think you guys are starting to peak at the right time, and it's been a lot of fun to watch. Thanks so much for joining us in the studio.
Thank you, Alex. It's been a pleasure.
All right. The CSL This Week will return in just a moment. Welcome back. Well, despite a rough stretch in August, Burlington SC has been a pleasant surprise in just their second season in the Canadian Soccer League. A big contributor to that success is rookie forward Darren Chambers, whose blend of speed and skill has left opposing defenders shaken and stirred numerous times this year. Darren Chambers, this week's player profile, brought to you by DeThomas Financial, the official sponsor of the Canadian Soccer League.
27-year-old forward Darren Chambers has been a revelation for Burlington SC this season. After playing in the Ontario Soccer League in 2013, the native of Jamaica propelled himself directly into the starting lineup in his first CSL season, and is a key reason as to why the squad currently sits in 4th place in the standings. It was his longtime friend and current teammate Nicholas Lindsay who convinced Chambers to give Burlington a try.
There was a time where I approached him and I said, hey, Darren, hey, why not come to the CSL? Why not try it out? And it was a league that he hadn't played in ever, and I said, what, there's always opportunity here for Burlington, and they're always looking, so why not take that stage?
I met up with Nick at Hershey Center, we just playing kickabout, and he's like, oh my God, man, you need to come over here, man. It's Burlington, it's good football. It's not that far from home. So I was like, okay, I just gave it a shot. I came out, a few tryouts. The coaches, they loved me, threw me in the starting lineup, and ever since I've been here.
Chambers brings many talents to the pitch, but the first thing you'll hear teammates mention,
he brings speed. That guy is the fastest guy I've ever seen play. He brings, you think he's not there, then all of a sudden he's on your back as a center back. You have got to be totally aware of that guy, and I mean, he, like I said before, he brings that extra option to the team, and obviously we've done well with him. So
Lindsay, who previously played with Toronto FC in Major League Soccer and has seen his share of quick players, feels Chambers is in a league of his own.
The speed is different. I must say it is different. I've seen some fast guys in my life, but as I said, he's different. His speed is impeccable, on and off the ball.
I just play like I normally play. With that speed is just natural to me, because as a young player, I used to do track and field on the side also. So when football would finish, I would do track and field competitively. So I used to be actually a 100-meter competitive sprinter.
Chambers announced his arrival to the CSL in dramatic fashion in his very first game. The setting, Hershey Field on May 24th. The opponents, Toronto, Croatia, and the reigning two-time Defender of the Year, Sven Arapovic, the CSL's best and intimidating shutdown man. But in one play, Chambers' tremendous speed became a secret no more.
That one game, the Toronto-Croatia game, is like, I was just running normal, but then when I went and checked the replay on the website, it's just like, the guy's like, oh my God, but it just felt normal to me. It's just a God-given talent, the speed that I have, and I try to use it to the best of my ability as possible.
But Chambers brings so much more than just speed to the pitch.
What I think I bring to this team, as to what I would say Robin brings to the Netherlands or to Bayern. You just bring that individuality where I don't necessarily need the team to create something. I could just create something on my own with my skills, my speed, my technical ability. I'm very gifted with the ball at my feet, and I could create a lot for this team, on and off the ball.
Nicholas Lindsay sees a bright football future for his best friend.
As I said to you, he has everything it takes to be at that next level, and I'm so excited that he had this chance to really showcase just a little portion of what he brings, because I tell you, there is still so much more in store with Darren. So, wonderful talent.
Before we go, let's take a look at our Olympic trophies play of the week, and it's Burlington SC's Camilo Velosa. He's got the moves like Jagger. Look at this, waltzing through the Branton defense, and look at that shot, top shelf. Take another look. Velosa with the gorgeous footwork. You can't place this shot any better than he did. Definitely worthy of our Olympic trophies play of the week.
And that's all the time we've got for this week. But just remember that for all the latest CSL news, stats, and standings, you can head to CanadianSoccerLeague.ca, and you can also follow the league on Twitter at CSL_soccer. Thanks for watching, folks. I'll see you next week.